Dear students, this is a short video on Pilgrim at Tinder Creek by Annie Dillard. This is the title of her book, and this chapter is excerpts from that book, which has won Pulitzer Prize for Nonfiction. As you know, a pilgrim is a person who travels to sacred religious places. In this case, Tinder Creek is a stream, a narrow water body in Virginia, and the author is visiting this Tinder Creek, and she feels highly devotional, and it fills her with thoughts on the universe. In other words, she wonders about the mystery of the universe, just like the way a believer wonders about the mystery of God. Here is a biography of the author. She was born on April 30th, 1945 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, United States. She is a multifaceted genius as she has contributed as a poet, naturalist, novelist, essayist, and singer. Her works usually are contemplation on the world of nature. Her writings are richly poetic and densely philosophic. These are the major works by Annie Dillard. Tickets for a Prayer Wheel, published in 1974. Pilgrim at Tinder Creek, published in the same year. Living by Fiction, 1982. Teaching a Stone to Talk, 1982. An American Childhood in 1987. The last one, An American Childhood, is her autobiography. Her work, Pilgrim at Tinder Creek, won Pulitzer Prize for General Nonfiction in 1975. As I already said, Tinder Creek is a stream in Virginia, United States. She treats this creek as a divine holy place. She is greatly inspired by Thoreau, an American transcendental writer. Pilgrim at Tinder Creek is a theologian undertaking a pilgrimage into nature. As I told you, just like a religious believer undertaking a pilgrimage to a holy place. Her narrative is known for its monastic patience and microscopic eye. Hope you have already gone through the text. Let's have a look at it now. The personal narrative begins when the author is walking along the edge of the island. So why does she go there? She goes there to see what she can see in water, and she says to scare frogs. And the author says that it amuses her to see the way frogs jump into water. She is taking a solitary walk into the island just to observe the water, the trees, and also she is amused by the way the frogs jump into water so that she can find happiness in it. It's a good practice for all of us too, to find such happiness in these days when you cannot go out into the world, but natural wonders are all around us. I've quoted this part of the text in order to give you a feel of her writing. She describes now the way frogs jump into water. Frogs have an inelegant way of taking off from invisible positions on the bank just ahead of your feet in dire panic, emitting a froggy yike and splashing into water. Hope you can imagine the author walking by the creek, and as she goes, she observes the difference in texture, means patterns, of the light reflected from mudbank, water, grass, or frog. So she is making a stroll, in fact, and observes everything that is there to observe. The pattern of light, or the way the light is reflected from the mudbank, or what is there in water, grass, or frog. And she says that frogs flying all around the writer. So as she goes, she describes a green frog, and it is half in and half out of water, and she says it looks like a schematic diagram of an amphibian, and it didn't jump. Okay, suddenly something happens to the frog, and the author is giving you microscopic details about the frog. And I have just quoted another part from the text just to tell you the way the author narrates it. He means the frog, slowly crumpled and began to sag. The spirit vanished from his eyes as if snuffed. His skin emptied and drooped. His very skull seemed to collapse and settle like a kicked tent. This part is narrated very well in the text. Please read it. From the narrative, we understand that this frog is somehow getting killed. Though the green frog is losing its life, there is no hint who has killed it. And suddenly the author observes a giant water bug, which is described as enormous, heavy-bodied brown bug, which eats insects, tadpoles, fish and frogs. So this creature, this water bug, is described in details in the text, and especially its way of killing is narrated. Its forelegs are mighty and hooked inwards. It seizes a victim with these legs, hugs it tight, and paralyzes it with the enzymes injected during a vicious bite. That one bite is the only bite it ever takes. Through the puncture shoot the poison that dissolve the victim's muscles and bones and organs, except the skin. Finally, the water bug sucks out the victim's body. The author is shocked to see the way the water bug is killing the frog, and she feels how cruel the universe has created certain creatures, and this leads her to meditations on animals of prey. She says that she understands that carnivorous animals devour their prey alive. They subdue victim by drowning or grasping it, eat them whole or parts. Even frogs eats dragonflies, or arms eats featherless bird, newly hatched featherless birds. So it's common in the animal world to kill smaller animals and survive on that. But the way this water bug is killing the frog is so different that the author couldn't catch her breath, as she says it. This incident leads her to think about God's creation, and she wonders at the way both the hunter and the hunted are created by the same God. And she asks, what is the mystery behind it? In order to explain this part, she quotes from Quran, in which Allah says, I have just paraphrased it, do you think I created heaven and earth and all in between just for fun? In this verse, it means that everything in the world, every creature in the world has a particular purpose. So she wonders, does the water bug also created in earnest, or was it just a fun? We do not know. Anyway, in the rest of the essay, she is talking about the mystery of the universe, the mystery behind creation. She delves into the mystery of the universe and thinks about the profusion of life forms we have on the universe. She also thinks about the mystery of time, of past and future. She meditates on the mystery of the water bug and asks, is it created for fun or earnest? Then she quotes Blaise Pascal, who was a Christian apologist and also a 17th century French mathematician and physicist. He was a writer and inventor, and he has said, the author quotes, having called forth the universe, turning his back to it. God has first called forth the universe, then has just turned his back to it. Deus absconditus, it really means the hidden God. God brought the world, then all of a sudden he is just hidden, so that the mysteries are never settled. After this, she quotes Albert Einstein, who says, God is subtle, not malicious. That means the world seems to be mysterious. The way it is created is definitely unfathomable to human beings, but that is because God is subtle, means it's not visible. It's so delicate that it is not able to be described. not because God is malicious. Einstein also says, nature conceals her mystery by means of her essential grandeur, not by her cunning. In other words, we are not in a position to understand the mystery of the universe because it is so complex and delicate, our reasoning fails to understand it. So the author is in fact thinking about the nature of the universe and the role of man in it. This Malayalam poem narrated well. അനന്തം അജ്ഞാതം അവർണ്ണനീയം ഈ ലോകഗോളം തിരിയുന്ന മാർഗം അതിലെങ്ങാണ്ടൊരിടത്തിരുന്നു നോക്കുന്ന മർത്യൻ കഥയെന്തു കണ്ടു. The same situation is there. She is talking about the limitation of human knowledge and the infinity of the universe. She concludes the essay by posing so many questions on the nature of human knowledge and the universe and how far we have understood the universe, or have we understood anything. So many such questions are posed at the ending, and the chapter concludes with that.